Princess Leonor's university future, the royal rule. She could be about to challenge introduction to university choice with royal consequences. What if Princess Leonor's next university decision is about more than education? What if it could challenge one of the expectations that has shaped royal heirs for generations? For an ordinary young woman, choosing a university is a personal decision. For Spain's future queen, it is much more complicated. Every part of Leonor's preparation is watched closely. Where she studies, what she studies, who she meets, how she prepares for public service, and even how much independence she is allowed to experience. Princess Leonor has already taken an unusually international educational path. She studied at UWC Atlantic College in Wales. She has undertaken extensive military training in Spain, and she has gradually assumed a greater role in official life. Now, attention is turning toward the next stage of her education. And that raises an intriguing question: could Leonor's university future challenge the traditional way royal heirs are expected to prepare for the throne? The answer requires looking beyond the headlines. Because there is no simple royal rule dictating one particular university. But there are traditions. And traditions can change. Today, we're exploring what Leonor's university future could mean for the Spanish crown and why her education may become one of the most revealing parts of her journey toward becoming queen. Chapter 1: The heir who cannot have an ordinary university life. University is usually a period of freedom. Students leave home. They meet new people. They experiment with ideas. They make mistakes. And they begin deciding who they want to become. For Princess Leonor, independence comes with limits. She is not simply a student. She is the heir presumptive to the Spanish throne. Her future position is established by Spain's constitutional order. One day, she could become head of state. That means the choices she makes today can carry unusual significance. Even something as ordinary as choosing a university can become a matter of public interest. And that is where the tension begins. Leonor needs enough freedom to mature. But she also needs preparation appropriate to the extraordinary role awaiting her. Chapter 2: The tradition of royal education. Royal heirs have traditionally received highly structured education. Their studies often combine academics with languages, history, politics, diplomacy, military training, and constitutional knowledge. The purpose is obvious. A future monarch must understand the institutions they will eventually represent. In Spain, the tradition has been particularly important. King Felipe VI's own preparation combined academic education, military service, and international experience. Princess Leonor is following some of those traditions, but she is also part of a new generation. And that creates an important question: does a future queen need to follow exactly the same educational formula as her predecessors? Or should her preparation evolve with the world around her? Chapter 3: Leonor has already broken with the expected script in some ways. Before even reaching university, Leonor's education has already included an international dimension. Her years at UWC Atlantic College in Wales gave her the opportunity to study alongside students from different countries. That experience was significant. It placed the future queen outside Spain's royal environment. She experienced an international academic community. She encountered different cultures. And she lived in an environment where she was one student among many. That kind of experience can be valuable for a future monarch. Because the person who eventually becomes Queen of Spain will have to understand not only Spain but the wider world. So if Leonor chooses another international educational experience, it would not necessarily represent a rejection of tradition. It could actually be an extension of the approach already used in her education. Chapter 4: The royal rule that isn't really a rule. This is where sensational headlines can become misleading. There is no known constitutional rule saying Princess Leonor must attend a specific university. Nor is there a legal requirement that she follow one particular academic path. Her place in the succession is determined by Spain's constitutional framework. Her education is a different matter. There are expectations. There are traditions. There are security considerations. And there are practical requirements surrounding her future role. But those are not the same thing as a formal royal law. So when people talk about Leonor challenging a royal rule, what they are really discussing is the possibility of her departing from an established pattern. And that distinction matters. Because breaking a tradition can be symbolic without breaking any law. Chapter 5: What if she chooses a university abroad? Imagine Leonor choosing to study abroad again. It would immediately attract enormous attention. Some would see it as a continuation of her international education. Others might ask why Spain's future queen needs to spend more time outside the country she will eventually represent. Both perspectives would have merit. Studying abroad could provide Leonor with greater exposure to international perspectives. It could strengthen her language skills. It could expose her to different academic traditions. And perhaps most importantly, it could provide some distance from the intense attention surrounding the Spanish royal family. But there would also be challenges. Security would need to be considered. Her official responsibilities would have to be coordinated. And her university experience could never be entirely ordinary. The cameras would eventually follow. Chapter 6: What if she stays in Spain? Choosing a Spanish university could send an entirely different message. It could emphasize Leonor's connection with the country she is preparing to serve. She could study closer to Spanish institutions. She could interact more directly with Spanish students. And she could develop a deeper understanding of the country's academic and social environment. For supporters of the monarchy, that could be seen as an important advantage. A future queen should understand the society she represents. But there is another side. Remaining in Spain could make it harder for Leonor to experience the independence that ordinary university students often enjoy. Her public profile would remain enormous. Her movements would attract attention, and privacy would remain difficult. So neither choice is simple. Chapter 7. The subject could matter as much as the university. There is another question that could be even more revealing. What will Leonor study? Law could deepen her understanding of constitutional institutions. International relations could prepare her for diplomacy. Economics could strengthen her understanding of national policy and global markets. History could provide deeper insight into Spain and Europe. But there is also the possibility that she could choose something less obviously connected to monarchy. And that would be interesting too. Because a future queen does not necessarily need to study a subject simply because it sounds royal. She also needs intellectual curiosity. A strong monarch needs the ability to understand people with different perspectives. Sometimes studying something unexpected can broaden a person's thinking. Chapter 8. The real challenge, tradition versus independence. Perhaps this is the real issue surrounding Leonor's university future. Not Spain versus another country. Not one university versus another. But tradition versus independence. The Spanish monarchy needs continuity. But Leonor also needs to become her own person. If she simply repeats every decision made by previous generations, she may preserve tradition, but she may not necessarily prepare herself for a changing society. If she chooses a different path, she could demonstrate that the monarchy can adapt. That balance could define her preparation for years to come. Conclusion. A future queen writing her own path. So, is Princess Leonor about to challenge a royal rule? Not necessarily. There is no confirmed royal rule requiring her to follow one specific university path. But she may have an opportunity to challenge something more subtle, the expectation that future monarchs must prepare exactly as previous generations did. Her education has already shown a willingness to combine tradition with international experience. Her military training reflects the responsibilities of Spain's crown. Her public engagements are giving her experience. And her university years could give her something equally important, independence. Whatever she ultimately chooses, the decision will not determine whether she becomes queen, but it could influence the kind of queen she becomes. And that is why her university future matters. Because Princess Leonor isn't simply preparing for a degree, she is preparing for a lifetime in which tradition will constantly meet change. And perhaps the greatest challenge facing Spain's future queen will be learning how to respect the past without becoming trapped by it. The crown has a history, but Leonor will have to create her own chapter. And her university years may be where that chapter truly begins. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe and turn on notifications for more stories about Princess Leonor, the Spanish royal family, and Europe's future monarchs. And tell us in the comments, should Princess Leonor study in Spain, or would another international university better prepare her for life as queen?